mashup, I'm not sure whether that's, well, that's not a bad word. It is what we're doing is something a little gimmicky perhaps, but I would definitely say not cheap, not tacky in any way, but it's a different take on Beethoven's symphonies, and it's been in the making for a few years actually. What I was thinking was Beethoven, for classical music lovers, is probably the most popular of all composers. You know, Beethoven, Mozart, that sort of thing, but I think Beethoven really is at the top of the list and has been for years and years. And we do a lot of Beethoven symphonies. The whole, world of classical music does Beethoven symphonies all the time. And I thought maybe we could have a slightly different spin on it, which I'll explain in a moment. And also, my thought was a way of getting people who don't know all their Beethoven symphonies, but have heard of the composer and kind of intrigued by him perhaps because of his popularity, to get those people into the concert hall as well. So trying to attract two different types of audience. So the idea was to kind of do the best of. He wrote 9 symphonies. I thought, what if we took a movement, made a compilation in some ways of those 9 symphonies? Now, I wasn't thinking of 9 movements, that would be very long, but a symphony is normally 4 movements. So I thought we could maybe do 4 of the kind of greatest hits. People who know Beethoven's symphonies a certain amount always think of, ba 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 bam, that's the first movement of the 5th symphony. They don't always know necessarily what it is, but that is very famous and they love it. And there are movements of each symphony which stand out more than others. So I thought a little compilation, or as you call it, a mashup, might be the way to go. We were going to do this actually just as the pandemic hit. Then we didn't, for obvious reasons. So I brought the idea back for this season with an added slight twist to it, I guess you could say, which is that this season has a thread of 5 in it. We're doing 5th symphonies of composers, and I thought instead of maybe having the 4 movement layout of this compilation, we could have a 5 movement layout. So I've changed the choices of movement somewhat to add a 5th one. The idea is to have a kind of Beethoven narrative here, which means that we will go from one movement to the other kind of without pause. I mean, there won't be literally, but without, taking the usual big breath, putting the instrument down, mopping the forehead, whatever it may be, but kind of going from one to another to kind of tell a narrative of this mashup or this compilation. I haven't done it before. This is my first time, I have to say. And I was a little nervous because it was my choice of pieces, and I've had to not change the notes, but make sure that the movements follow on from the others in a kind of hopefully compelling way, and making sure the harmonies line up and all this sort of thing. So I think this is going to be successful and really a lot of fun.